And we're back.
3, 2, 1. You guys think anything's going to happen on January 20? Think like all hell's going to break loose?
Not.
What's that? Jinx? Is it? Jinx?
Jinx by me.
Say it at the same time because we were like, no,
Jinx
at
buy
the
me a
same time.
Piedmontese steak.
There we go.
Yeah, Jinx get me an Element recharge pack.
How can you get that, by the way?
You could get one for absolutely freezies right now when you head to drinklmnt.com/powerproject. That's right. All you have to do is pay the $5 shipping and you get to sample all 8 different flavors from Element. We talk about them all the time. We talked about them before they were a sponsor. They're our friends. They're just really amazing electrolytes. Mark talks about them all the time, especially with the carnivore diet right now. And Nsima talks about all of the amazing benefits of fasting. And one of the things that helps fasting, of course, is drinking more electrolytes.
Yeah, keeping that energy level high. You feel like feel tired or lethargic, or just feel like you don't have enough oomph. Having a little bit of salt, having those electrolytes in your system can really make a big difference. We've noticed a huge difference. That's why we talk about it all the time. That's why we talked about it before they were a sponsor. But they did a great job creating a great product, and it tastes good.
Yeah.
People are tired of drinking water. Now you got another option. They got chocolate. They got pink lemonade. They have like a lemon lime. They have an orange flavor. You got all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah. And like I said, so you guys can try all the flavors right now, or I think it's all the flavors. It's 8 of them for absolutely free. Just check the link in the YouTube description as well as the podcast show notes. But in case you're driving right now, it's drinklmnt.com/powerproject. Again, it's absolutely free. Just pay for the shipping. And yeah, we're back, guys. Oh, what's wrong?
Nothing. If
You shaking out?
No, we do have to talk about January 20th, but I don't know if anyone's ever tried this. If you're just standing, right? Like sometimes I will flex my butt cheeks as hard as possible, and I'll get like this good feeling in my lower back of like a cluck. You know, it's because it's like it.
Oh yeah, because it rounds the lower back a little bit.
Yeah, it rounds the lower back a little bit, and it kind of like aligns that. If you flex your butt hecka hard, like you're at the top of a squat, and just there it is. Yeah, your lower back will do a little thing.
That.
And did you feel it?
My ass is huge.
Do it super hard, like forcefully hard and hold.
You have
you might
really big butt.
Oh, it might cramp.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
It might get stuck in that position. I know what you mean, though. Yeah, it feels like it kind of stretches the hip flexors and sets your back in the right spot.
Yes. Anyway, January 20th.
Yeah, January 20th. I think what the country has decided, I think, that they are going to have Biden and Trump, they're going to have a wrestling match. And Dana White is the promoter.
There we go.
And Vince McMahon is the referee.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Who's managing each one? Do you know?
I think Trump. I think on Trump's side, I think he has Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
I know that's pretty good.
I like those
Hulk Hogan, but
look,
Biden has the Rock. So I mean, I don't know. Someone's getting a rock bottom.
You know,
Stone Cold might get involved.
Yeah,
you never know.
Trump is pretty scrappy, but like I think he's mainly mouth. Biden, he's kind of lean. You know, he's older, but I think his forgetfulness might just get him out of things.
I think Trump's going to grab him by the pussy. If I had to have a prediction for the fight.
Yeah. His signature move.
So the crowd knows it's coming.
Yeah. So he gets a hand. Oh, yeah, he winds it up.
Oh, God.
We got Lawler in the background yelling, no!
He's not even on our roster. What's going on here today?
Oh, man.
That would be incredible.
Oh, man. Part of this show going downhill.
What do you remember? Like the MTV would have those like celebrity death. I think that's what it's called. So celebrity death match.
Yeah, celebrity death match.
Dude, that'd be sick.
Like animation or something, right?
Yeah,
claymation.
Yeah, it was great.
Was that real?
Bring that
wasn't
back.
part of like a dream or something. That was real.
It was real.
Wow,
That's so funny, man. The 90s were crazy.
that was legit.
But you know what's so sad? Because Andrew, you mentioned this before, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think you said that you don't know what was going on January 20th, and it was like, well, that's when the new president's being whatever. But I didn't know about the Capitol until I got a text. Like someone texted me like, oh, you see what's going on at the Capitol? I'm like, what? Oh, it's being stormed. Oh, okay. Cool. Like I don't hear about most of this stuff until somebody tells me.
You're like, I'm on my way to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Either way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is practice canceled? Nope. Okay, I'm going. Still going.
Yeah, Stephanie and I are the same way. Like somebody will either text us or like one of her friends will be like, "Oh no, like we're locked down again. Make sure you go get, X, Y, and Z from the grocery store." It's like, "What? We are? Like I thought have been this whole time. Like we haven't not been. Like, well, hold on, what's going on here?" Like, so could we
No,
just
but now it's for real, for real.
Yeah. Like we don't watch the news, like we don't do any of that, and we usually hear things, still as they happen. We just don't pay attention to them and don't allow them to, bother us. And like you said, Nsima, we guard our inputs.
Yeah.
And
I think, we put so much importance on being informed citizens, right? And being on top of the news. But so many people that I see on my Facebook feed, people in my family that watch the news a lot, are constantly stressing themselves out by everything that's going on in the news cycle. It's like they're always messaging me about it, or they're saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so worried about this. I'm so worried about, you see what's going on at the Capitol? What's going to happen?"
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, you're in Sacramento.
And I think what we're alluding to here is we're probably better off being uninformed than we are being misinformed, right? And kind of like just seeing what's going on. So if you saw what's going on in like Washington on that particular day, Washington D.C., and then they're like, "Hey, this exploded in New York City, and this went off down in Florida, and this went off in Chicago, and now shit's going on over." But the country, even with that being said, the country is very big, and even when we've had some battles fought here in the United States, which there hasn't been anything really recently, other shit was going on. Like we're still building like railroads and stuff. And I would rather be like a railroad. I'd rather be a railroad worker. Yeah, real world participant. I'd rather be a railroad worker.
I hate that word too, man.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
I'd rather be working on the railroad, I guess, rather than to get caught up in a bunch of bullshit. I'd rather just go about my day. My mother-in-law was kind of panicking. She saw I don't know what she saw, what she got wind of, but she saw like a video of some British guy, saying how shit's going to go down in a couple days. And I don't even really know what she was saying, but she was like legitimately kind of scared. And my wife was on the phone with her and they were going back and forth. My wife was like, "Mom," she's like, "I'm going to swim practice tomorrow, and I'm going to work tomorrow. And I don't really care." She's like, "I don't really put any weight into any of that." She's like, "Now, if you want to talk about like doing something about it because you really are scared, then you can stay with us. If you want, if you're if you're home alone and you're thinking of all these thoughts and you're concerned, please come over and we'll get together." But I think all of us would know, and we wouldn't even really be like talking on the show right now if shit was like if we were in the middle of something really wild going on to the point where we felt like we all needed to be involved. But maybe we would be because maybe there's people that want to fight and maybe there's people that don't care to fight. I don't care to fight. If I had to, if I felt like, hey, this is really important to be a part of this. This is a part of history and this will benefit my children and this will benefit future generations to come, then maybe. But I'm also like a little old for that shit too. I don't really want to fight unless I really had to. So unless something is going to attack me or my family, I can't really see getting involved in anything. Even if another country came over here and like bombed us or something like that, which would be horrific, I don't know how involved I would get. Like I never cared to try to fight anybody when 9/11 happened. You know what I mean? Like who the hell knows what the results of 9/11 were, right? But let's say it was something that the United States kind of through many years provoked or something. I don't know what the word would be, right? I don't really care to have anything to do with any of it. I think part of being a United States citizen is we have the luxury of being as naive and as like kind of dumb as we want. And I'm not saying that I'm not patriotic. I love this country and I love what people have fought for. And I'm glad that there's people braver than me that have stood up for our rights and that have stood up for some of these things. But I'm not really fighting for much of anything unless somebody gives me a really good explanation on exactly what's going on. And I'm not taking anything from the news. I'm not taking anything from the internet. The only place where I'm going to take information from is from people face to face. If you came to me and you were in a panic, me and Andrew would be like, I've never seen Nsima in a panic before. He said he needs our help. Fuck it, man. Like, I don't know what we're going to do, but let's try to, like, that's when I would get involved. When I saw my neighbor, when I saw somebody, my dad, somebody else, you know, saying, hey, look, you know, we got no other choice here. Like, this is what's going down. Mm-hmm. But short of that, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to train shoulders and back like I normally do. And I'm going to work on getting Jackson 10.
But this is the other thing from what you're saying. It's like when someone hears what you're saying, right? They're like, oh, you only care about the people close to you or whatever. But let's also say, like, what you care about is health. And everything that you're doing is spreading the message of being healthy, that to tens and hundreds of thousands of people, because you want all of those people to take their health and focus on that. That is you have a lot of other focuses, but that is one of your big focuses as an individual, right? That's what you can do. And I think the big essence of that is, well, what can I do? That's what I can do. I can focus on helping all of these people over here. Something's going on at the Capitol. I can focus on helping all these people over here. Like,
I can't even really do much in terms of fighting. Like, I might be able to punch somebody. That's about it.
Right?
I don't have any weapons.
Exactly. But there are those people that did that on the Capitol. As much as I disagree with it, that's what they felt they needed to do. But no, like, I'm not going to spend my time over here in Sacramento, California, watching every single hour by hour update on what's going on over there, because what can I do? I can do nothing but watch and stress myself out about this situation.
And how about the message over and over again that day, where fighting solves nothing, on land that was never even theirs, that they fought. People fought for the very land that they're talking about being like desecrated or whatever, or disgraced or whatever. It's like, are you guys out of your mind? Fighting fucking solves everything. Fighting and money solve a lot of shit.
It's true.
They do. It solves a lot of problems. Like, again, did 9/11 like get our attention? Fuck yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Did some of the Black Lives Matter movement get our attention? Did George Floyd's death get our attention? There's usually some tragic shit that happens. Usually something that goes down where you're like, whoa, okay, where our eyes are open.
Yeah.
We'll remember a lot of the protests and a lot of the things that went on, you know, in these years. We'll remember a lot of this stuff. How many people have the images of black individuals being hosed down in the streets, and it's like the 60s. Like, if those people aren't standing there, you know, fighting for their territory, fighting for their ground, a lot of what we have now doesn't ever happen. You know, a lot of the movement forward doesn't ever happen. Yeah, we took California from Mexico. I mean, like, look how profitable California. California is an amazing place. So when they say that, like, fighting is disgraceful, and I understand what they're saying. We don't really want to see violence, but violence is part of everything, because we can't always agree. And that's what we see. That's what we see.
And sometimes, yeah, things are led to violence.
You and I get to agree and to disagree about stuff because it doesn't really hurt each other. If it started to really negatively impact each other, we'd probably try to fight or start yelling at each other or do something.
It would take a lot for it to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe
Right.
that would happen.
Yeah, like after a while, like shit gets to be annoying to a certain extent, where you argue over it. And the reasons why we go to war and like all the shit's happened over the years in the history of the world, they're really dumb reasons. Like, you believe in this God, I believe in this God. No, we're gonna fight.
That's true.
Like, how can you believe in that God? Are you crazy? I'm gonna shoot you over it.
Huh?
I'm gonna shoot you because you're a different color. Your family was born closer to the equator than mine, and they were there longer than mine. So I'm gonna fucking shoot you for that. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's unbelievable, the reasons on why we do fight, but fighting is a part of it, because we're not as rational as we would like to think. And I think that's what we're trying to talk about here today is how do we, the input that's coming in doesn't have to be, the output is not predetermined. The output that you put back out into the world is not predetermined. Somebody calls you and says, hey man, you see this shit that's going down? You do not have to freak out. You can think logically about that. And you say, you know, for you could say, is my girlfriend safe? That's okay. Sounds like she's good. My dog, new dog, my new puppy's all good. Is my work impacted negatively? Nope. Car's still good. I still got transportation. Mom's still good. Cool.
Yeah.
I better get my ass to work and, work on these, work on programming today, or get my ass over to jujitsu, right?
Exactly. And with what you're saying there, some people look at that and they're like, oh, but you're not, there's so many things going on in the United States. There's so many things. You're not staying up to date on it. You're not staying informed on it. But you're also just not, there's nothing that you can possibly do to change it. It's like, why am I going to pay attention to something when there's literally in my power, nothing I can do right now? I'm not going to go protest about something. My job isn't, my job has nothing to do with this in terms of politics or these social matters. Why am I going to continue to take that in consistently and have that on my mind all day, distracting me from all the other things that are so much more important to me? Why am I going to take my focus away from the things that matter to things that they matter, but they don't matter that much to me right now?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then you had said, like, Mark, you're only caring about your family. Like, that's it. What? I'm not getting it. Like, I'm not really trying to be like, I can't even think of the word, but like, or sappy, I guess. But like, what if literally everybody that was at the Capitol put their family first? Like, there's dudes that are going to be in jail. I know a couple people died. How is that helping their family? It's like, if we all did kind of care about our own circle, like, more than anything, a lot of this shit probably wouldn't be going down.
Yeah.
I think it's like Mother Teresa or something. She has a saying that says, the way to impact the world the most is to go home and love your family. And it's like,
exactly.
Not that she's correct on everything, but I mean, I think that's pretty good advice. Like, take care of your own shit. My son and I had a good conversation about just personal responsibility, and talking about like trying to be rational, and what was done to the White House, and where do we draw the line? Like, they kind of just, it's really weird because it kind of seems like they just kind of, I know a lot of people are like breaking down the door or whatever, and then they kind of just said, hey, it's probably not worth it. We're not really that prepared, so let's let people through, kind of thing. But anyway, it's all personal responsibility, just because you see somebody else breaking down a door, it doesn't give you the right to throw a brick. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't change. The dynamics of stuff don't change. You still can't kill somebody. You still can't impede on another person's property. And those things are weird because, like, who does own it? Like, the world wasn't made or created with borders. Like, we made them up. Like, hey, this is the line. You don't cross it. This is where my people live. Your people live over there. And let's keep it that way. And we have this religion, these beliefs, and everybody else, you stay over that way. Those are all things that are they're completely made up by our society. But at the same time, when somebody does step over those boundaries, do you protect your own home? Do you protect the capital of the United States? Maybe another country would have had something really harsh that they decided to do, where they're like, hey, let's throw grenades at these people or something wild, like, or let's run them over with tanks.
Yeah.
Like,
other countries, what happened would be treason, and many of those people would be executed, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. And maybe just mowed down with machine guns or something, right? Like, and am I to determine whether that's right or wrong? I have no idea. And I don't think anybody else does either. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right to take people's lives, especially when people are acting erratically or emotionally. But it definitely makes some sense because, like, where do we draw the line's probably got to be drawn somewhere. Or do you have a stance where you're just like, you know what? I don't think there should be any enforcement involved. What does that mean? Does that mean that the entire country starts to look the way that California is looking? I don't know if you guys looked around, but there's a lot of fucking garbage everywhere. And there's a lot of fucking homeless people around, and it's disgusting. And it's getting worse as you drive, through the city. It's filthy. There's garbage everywhere. There's shit everywhere. I don't remember it being like that, even just as of 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do we let everything fall apart that way because we don't want to impede on somebody else, or do we make a stand and say, "Fuck that"? We need to, you know. I don't have the answers to any of that, but I personally don't want to be involved in it unless I really feel like I have to be for some reason.
Mm-hmm. I think there was, with what you were saying there, did it have to happen? I think there was some good in what happened there because, when people are looking at a lot of the protests that happened this year because of like, some of the police shootings like George Floyd, et cetera, some of those, like a lot of those protests went good, and some of those protests, some individuals there got violent with property. So like some things got out of hand, some businesses got destroyed. And it wasn't a majority of the protesters, it was some people that just took things too damn far. But nothing was wrong with the protesting. Nothing was wrong with that. And when it comes to this at the Capitol, I mean, at the end of the day, there was some destruction of what happened there. But it was a protest on the other side for something that these individuals believed in. There are going to be a lot of people that think it was wrong. But at the end of the day, like, yes, one person, I think 4 people ended up dying. The one person that, gets a lot of, that people are paying attention to was the woman that got shot out the window, but 4 people ended up dying. But again, it's like they believed in something. They took it that way. It got out of hand, but it happened. So I think it's good that it did, just like, I think it is good that that happened on the other side too, because this happens all the time on all sides.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how people are arguing like who's protesting better.
Yeah.
Like this group protested this way and this group protested that way, and this is heinous and this is a good way to protest. And I would just say, like, if you're a young person and you're going to get involved in protesting, I think that you need to be. It's not the same thing, but it's almost as if you yelled at somebody. You yell at somebody, you say something. If I say, "Hey, you piece of shit," like I need to be like kind of prepared that there might be some actions taken against me if I yelled that at somebody. So I think a protest is a way, even though it might be initiated as a peaceful protest, you might be viewed a very particular way, and somebody may want to inflict harm upon you, and you could get hurt. You can get hurt by the other people that are protesting as well. And then a mob mentality type stuff. I know if I was a kid, if I was 17 years old, and me, you, and Andrew are walking by, and we got a group of friends with us, and we're all 16, 17 years old. Yeah. And Andrew kicks a car or something and kicks a little dent in it. I'm probably gonna like elbow it or something, or
let's go.
Yeah, I'll probably be like charged up. Like I haven't really ever. I don't think I've ever done anything like that I can think of. But I've done stupid shit because my friends were doing stupid shit too, I can't really think of like destroying any property or anything like that, but I've insulted people. I've done stuff I'm definitely not proud of just because it was like, hey, the group is kind of doing it. Like I can get away with this little bullshit thing. And so the mob mentality, you become a person that is maybe not completely different than the way that you normally are, but at least a little bit different than you normally are. And you got to be aware of that, and you can get really hurt if you're going and protesting. Not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that you got to be aware that you're kind of drawing a line in the sand, and it could be something that could end up in you getting hurt or killed or worse.
Yeah, it's something that everyone should think about, because it only takes one person to yell fire in a theater to start a stampede. You know what I mean? And then like at a protest, it only takes one person in the crowd that nobody sees to throw a brick at a cop to start having a lot of crazy stuff ensue, even though things may have been going great before that, right? So yeah, it's pretty damn wild.
And the second that fighting starts happening, it's very clear it's them versus us type of deal. And then you're kind of like now the cops are swinging at people, and they're swinging at people that I'm with. And now it's
to defend those people.
Yeah. Well, I got to throw something at them, or whatever it might be. But I think the main thing with a lot of this stuff is to try to think to yourself, what are things that you can do? How can you assist? How can you help? Some people, I think, maybe think a little bit along the lines that I do. Like, I'm not going to get involved unless I really have to. And I think there's other people that are like, no, man, like, I'm going to go to the Capitol building and I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to raise some hell. I'm going to try to just be seen, be noticed, be recognized, protest, hold up a sign, whatever it might be. And we've seen these things over the years turn into stuff where it is helpful. But if we're really being honest, how many times has it been helpful, or how many times has it really changed anything unless there's been like a fight, unless there's been like a death, unless there's been
a
like
big catalyst? Yeah.
Yeah, like years ago, they had some furloughs going on in the police departments in California. They had some cutbacks. I can't remember exactly why. In Yolo County area, and I could be butchering some of the story, but there was a situation at UC Davis, and a bunch of kids got pepper sprayed.
I remember
that were like on their knees, supposedly. I don't have all the details, so I could be totally killing this thing, but from what I recall is that they were like on their knees, they had their hands behind their back, and they were pepper sprayed because they wouldn't leave. They wouldn't leave the premises. And you don't really hear the news, or you don't really understand why these things are happening until something wild like that happens, until something crazy happens. I mean, you look at the 70s and stuff when they were protesting the Vietnam War. What wars do we know about? Like, what as Americans, what wars do we know about? What one stands out as like a really kind of black eye on American history is like that one. I mean, they're all, depending on your view of war, I guess, but like that one really kind of stands out a lot. And why does it stand out? Because there were so many people protesting against it, and I don't know how many people died in protests against that. I don't know the numbers on some of that, but I'd imagine a lot of people got hurt, and probably some people got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And it sometimes takes that to get attention, to actually cause change. If George Floyd, oh, here we go, we got some footage of it.
Yeah, even like the title, and this came from UC Davis.
That's hard to watch.
God dang. Yeah, I remember when this happened.
I see. He's got a pepper spray. Now he's kind of getting people in their face a little bit more.
It's the second guy, I think, is the reason why.
Well, pepper spray gets on your forehead, your eyes feel it. Like,
oh yeah,
if it gets anywhere close to you, you feel that shit.
Well, and these guys have training, and they're supposed to get pepper sprayed when they train, in training. Mm-hmm. So they should all be fully well aware of what it feels like. But my point earlier too was the fact that, and these situations happen all the time. They kind of, quote unquote, defunded the police at that time. I don't recall why. I think it was just the country just wasn't doing well financially, and they had to make cutbacks. Now you have less experienced people in those positions, and they don't know what to do with these protesters.
Yeah.
I don't know. All this stuff that's happening, I think, is for the better in the long run.
Yes.
Because it does raise a lot of questions. But I hope that people can have legitimate conversations and have rational conversations to where they can maybe see it from both sides. Like those people that are on their knees that are doing that in that particular video for UC Davis, they're at a different point in their life than where the police officers are at. Do the police officers, who probably have kids that are not too far from that age, many of them probably have children that are that age, do they want to go and pepper spray a bunch of people? I mean, I don't think so, but they might be pissed off. They might be annoyed by the time that their day starts to unwind. There's no excuse for it. But they thought that was the best they could do at that time. And these are people that maybe didn't have the training as some of the previous officers, because the previous officers weren't working as much because they were pulling them back because they made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so, every action has a reaction to it. And this is sometimes, what can happen. But the stuff that was coming out of the Capitol that one day of, hey, this is not the way to handle things. I'm like, I don't know what other way, when people were in an uproar of George Floyd, like I I was in favor of I don't want to see anyone die. I don't want to, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't like violence. I like maybe some controlled violence, like watching some UFC or something like that. But even that, when someone gets like knocked out, I'm like, all right, that's good. Like, hope he doesn't get hit again, But in order to have change, like there's got to go through some rough shit. If you don't see it my way, I'm going to throw a fucking punch at your face. Like, because you're not paying attention to me. You're not listening to me. You keep saying there's going to be change and I'm not seeing anything. So that's it. I'm done. I'm fucking throwing a right hook.
Mhm.
Yeah, imagine a kid saying that to their parent and their parent being like, "What? Hold on." Like that's basically what you sound like.
And I've heard that from people that have been abused before, where they fought back. We had someone on the show not too long ago where they hit their parent back and that was it. And the parent never hit them again. And I was like, oh, damn. Right. I mean, sometimes that happens in school with bullies.
Oh yeah.
You pop a bully in the face and then it's like, all right, well, you can come back. He's good. Wants to go pick on someone that's easy. Someone that he could give a wedgie to and stick him in their locker, right?
Okay, really, I've never seen that happen through all my years in school. Did you?
But you wanted it.
No, I didn't want it.
He's never seen it happen to someone else. He was doing it.
Hey,
I wasn't doing it to people.
He's doing
no.
upright rows.
But I always saw it. I'm like, so my shoulders got big. But that's how I was just like, I saw that on cartoons all the time. Like, why have I never seen somebody really get a wedgie?
Yeah, right?
Did you ever see that?
No, I never seen it.
Right? No.
I mean, your underwear will rip, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't hang from your underwear.
I feel
Can
like-
you, Andrew?
I feel like first off, you have to be wearing really
Google
big
it.
underwear.
Andrew, how many times this happened? Just
I'm trying. I don't. So for sure, never in school. I remember my brother, who's a lot bigger
Oh,
than
yeah.
me, he would totally give me a wedgie, but not like off the
a
ground.
wedgie's amazing, by the way. It's a hilarious thing to do to somebody else. Oh, I've definitely been picked up before. Yeah, my brothers have picked me up before. Yeah, wedging your balls all together and everything. It kills, cramps everything all in.
Yeah, I can imagine having two older brothers is a nightmare like that.
Oh yeah, in many ways.
But one thing I do want to go back to that you said was, number one, the world is big, right? It's not really normal because like when you start going down the link trail of news, you'll see one story, then you'll see another story somewhere else in the country, another story somewhere else in the country, another story from maybe international. Like internationally, something just happened. Someone knows exactly where this was, but a whole plane just went down in like Malaysia or something. I don't know. But the whole plane went down. So I think it was 63, 64 people died. Right. And then another horrible story. And you think about negative input, right? And you're just reading all this and you're paying attention to all this. The type of before all of this, we didn't have that much access. We didn't know what was in Sacramento. We didn't know what was going on in our next county. We didn't know what was going on in the state next to us or over in Washington until maybe, I don't know, got a newspaper about it at some point, right? And then you see the news. But we're just getting this barrage of horrible things going on all around the world. That's why some people are like, this is the worst time in history. But crazy shit has been going on forever. You just really didn't, or we didn't naturally know about it.
Imagine years ago, I like to wake up early. So I get the newspaper and I call Andrew. He wakes up around the same time as me. We talk about it. And I'm like, dude, did you see what happened in Washington? And then maybe Andrew read all the way through the whole article because I don't read all the way through stuff. And Andrew said, oh yeah, but they had curfew and like things were good. And that was yesterday. By the time we get through the conversation of like, man, that was wild. The whole situation is already over with and contained and it's done. People like fucking went to bed. And by the time Nsima wakes up, 10:30. Pause, let everybody laugh. Let all the listeners laugh. The millions and millions. By the time Nsima wakes up, it's done with. It's old news, right? It already happened and he might say, hey, man, I saw the newspaper and it looked like some shit went down. I'm like, oh, yeah, Andrew and I talked about that 4 hours ago.
It's old news.
Drank 2 cups of coffee and we're fired up for the day.
Yeah, our more than 24-hour old news is old news now.
But I imagine the sensation that you get. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've fallen victim to the news and the music that they hit you with and stuff. And I've had it happen before, but I get a little emotional response to it, and then I wake up and I'm like, okay, it's just what they're trying to have me do. I'm responding to, and I don't need to respond that way. But imagine like reading it in a newspaper, it probably felt way different, and you might have felt a little bit similar, but it couldn't have been. Well, maybe it could have been because that's all you had, but I'd imagine it wouldn't be as bad. And then you're getting the information, and as you sift through it, it's like, oh, 100, I don't know, a couple hundred people stormed the Capitol. It appears some people got hurt, some shit was thrown, guns were drawn. But you get to the end of the article, and like I said, it's like wrapped up. Who knows what the next couple days will bring? We'll keep you posted or whatever. And you're just like, okay, well, that's kind of scary, but you're like, well, it doesn't really sound, and the next day you find out maybe a couple people got hurt, a couple people died, or whatever the situation is, but not as impactful as hearing that music that the, Today Show hits you with first thing in the morning. Like, this is the most important thing that's going on right now. And not only is it really bad, but it appears like it's getting worse. It's going on right now. This is what's happening. And this could start to happen throughout the whole country. We don't know what's going on. Oh, and by the way, X amount of people died from coronavirus, and they're really trying to smash you with a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, I should say, that are kind of leading you to certain feelings. And it sucks. And I don't know. I mean, maybe there is, but I don't think anyone's evil. I don't think there's like newscasters who are like drumming up how to make this the worst situation ever, but they do want a lot of people to view it. And they know the power of like negativity is really, really strong.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. And if the news came at you and said, hey, there's been 34,000 people in this county that tested positive yesterday for the coronavirus. And by the way, we're only another 34,000 people away from having herd immunity. And this is looking pretty good. And there's people getting the vaccine as well. And hey, look at what some of these gym owners are doing. They're having people exercise outside. They're getting vitamin D. I hope other people participate in this. And let's talk to this guy over here. He's going to teach us about nutrition and the 5 best things that you can do to make sure that you don't contract the virus in the first place.
Yeah.
You're not seeing any of that because it's just people are going to probably go to the other channel that scares the fuck out of them.
I think, what we need to do is just because, an example is, when 9/11 happened, it was 2001. When I found out about that on that day, like I was a kid, but I was like, oh, that's crazy. That was one big thing that happened. Now you hear about bombings here, this here, coronavirus here, consistently throughout the whole day, hour by hour by hour. And it's not that we've gotten desensitized to that. We're not desensitized. We're just more anxious people because now it's coming at us faster all the time. So instead, I think the best tactic to do, if you are someone who does want to stay informed, maybe have a time during 1 or 2 days of the week where maybe you'll read up on this from two trusted sources that you like. I like this thing called Morning Brew. Okay, it'll send me an email on a day of like just a big list of things that I want to actually pay attention to, and it'll send me the updates on that. And I'll look at that on that day, and then I'm gonna go about doing everything else. And I won't look at it for like another few days. But and I don't have notifications from any other news outlets.
Because you're kind of interested in current events, and you don't want to seem like an idiot sometimes when somebody brings something up. You don't want to go, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But that'll be it. I have no other notifications coming from any other news. I don't just randomly go on YouTube's whatever explore page. I don't go on Instagram much in that way. So I make sure that I'm not getting all of this, so I don't go down a rabbit hole that's going to make me think a certain way. I think like now that's something that we really got to do. We have to actually be tactical about it rather than just letting it all come at us and wonder why we're having such negative thoughts and being so emotional about things. It's just you got to be tactical these days.
These emotions can kind of overrun you, and I think the main thing is to just try to give it a minute. And I think if you think back to times when there was only a newspaper, you probably had a lot more time to react to stuff. Now these things are coming at you really, really fast. I like what Nsima said about you're just building up more anxiety a lot of times. But I think on the flip side of that, you can train yourself to endure a lot, and you can have coping mechanisms, and you can have, there's some people have to just do certain things in order to block themselves from falling into the same traps every day. We've had people on the show who have like apps to like lock their phone. We've had some people say that they put their phone like in a drawer when they go home because they don't want to be on it. We've heard all kinds of strategies about food, like let's just don't buy it, or keep it locked up in a cupboard that's real high so you can't get to it. Or you have to figure out ways of safeguarding yourself against what's going on in our society, and to fall victim to like every single time a breeze kicks up that you get blown one way or the other is like, it's kind of unpatriotic in a way. I think that you should be stronger than that. You should work towards being stronger than that, because it's a disservice to everybody in the community if you're volatile that way, and you're kind of just going with each new story, just kind of getting kicked around.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good way to be. So I think a great way to try to combat that would be to have some coping mechanisms that can assist you. And even just biding your time sometimes, it can be, just taking your time in taking in that information and then deciding, should I call my mom about this? Or does that just put her no, she's going to be really worried.
Yeah.
Like if you told your mom you really jacked up your ankle at jiu-jitsu, yeah, right? Like there's no reason to concern mama with that, right?
Yeah.
There's just no, like, she's just going to worry. Like, oh, I told you not to do that. What are you doing? You shouldn't be doing that. Or, right? And if you see her and she sees you limp, you can say, yeah, you know what? I didn't want to worry about it, but my ankle got a little twisted up at jiu-jitsu and everything's going to be good. If you call her up and you're like, hey, like this happened. Now you're just passing that along to her. She passed along to your sister. Whole family's worried that you're going to have your foot amputated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine, like, because you're saying like if you did read a newspaper, you can take it in at your own pace. So imagine like if you were able to get the news in like super boring text form, like you probably wouldn't, like your mother-in-law probably wouldn't have called or whatever the case, that she wouldn't have spread some of the anxiety if you guys had, read into it as well. But like, is there a way to do stuff like that? Because you were just talking about an app or something, Nsima, about.
Yeah, like there's this thing called Morning Brew.
Morning Brew, that's what it was called. Sorry.
It'll send you an email each morning on like the most, I guess, important things that have happened recently, and just like bullet points kind of. And then you could choose to dig in on whatever you want and not dig in on what you want. But like I don't pay attention to traditional news because I know what it's trying to do. Like I'm not going to watch Fox or CNN because I know that the way that they put it forward is to try to get you to sit there and watch it and worry. Yeah,
clickbait.
Right? It's literally clickbait. I don't pay attention to exciting news because it's literally meant to manipulate the way you feel about something. I just like Morning Brew. It's very straightforward, just like facts on things. And okay, cool. I'll take that. So I think that's really beneficial. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Mark, I like what you said in that, yeah, you know what? On the flip side, it is good to, instead of, you hear all this and your emotions are swayed back and forth and you're feeling anxious about what's going on in Nevada and like all of this stuff, you learn to not let that affect you. You learn to take it and, okay, cool, let's go. That's good. And I agree with that. But I also wonder about, because of how much we're getting, if it's causing us to be callous. Because I have noticed this about myself. After a certain point, hearing that somebody got shot or died on the street unjustly, I'd read it, I'd be like, And that shouldn't be something that you just kind of like look at and you're kind of just like, yeah.
Right.
Another one, right? Because you're getting so much of it, and that's not with those situations. With other kind of horrible situations, I've realized that because I've been seeing so much of it, I'm kind of callous.
Yeah, you become desensitized.
Become
to it.
desensitized. And an extreme example of this is I have some friends. You know what live leak is? Neither of you heard. Ooh. Okay, so this is an extreme example, but live leak is one of those websites where they have videos of like horrible things that happen in other parts of the world, like beheadings and hangings, and people watch that stuff. Yeah, don't go there. But people watch that stuff. I have friends like, Nsima, look at this video. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to be watching that. But I have a few that are like, they could just watch beheadings for a while and say, oh wow, that's crazy.
Like, damn.
And they're super callous to it because they've like, you know, so that's like the extreme of it. But you see what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing should shock you. And it's, thank God that type of stuff still shocks me, sadly. Yeah. But
no, absolutely. Like one of the I mean, this is like a more lighthearted example, but like kids can watch like any scary movie now.
That's
you know,
true.
like they like nothing scares them. Like my daughter plays that game Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh God.
She loves it. I'm like, I can't even watch you play this because
I can't play that alone.
And they have it in VR now, and she wants to get it. I'm like, no, we're not getting that game. But yeah, like, you know, like they don't, like, they're just like, they think it's funny, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think you know, to try to get yourself on the other side of that is maybe just to have some gratitude for, you know, the life that you have and the opportunities that you have and the things that you have. It's the news tells you so many times about people dying that unless it's like a special case, then you just don't care. Like you don't get emotional into it. You don't really every once in a while they're like, hey, you know, a 9-year-old kid got shot in this situation, and you're like, oh my God, that's horrible. Or they have a story about somebody who, you know, had cancer or something like that, but only in the special circumstances do you care for some reason. And I think it's just, we hear so much, and they, you know, now they have like a ticker on how many people died from coronavirus. And there's you know, kind of COVID-19 like fatigue where people are just, they're kind of done with it. And then there's a lot of people that are skeptical. They're like, did they really die from coronavirus? Like, oh, you know, we still don't know. We don't always know or have the information at our hands. I think a key factor in a lot of this is really just to not watch the news. I don't know. I don't really. I'm trying to think of where watching the news is like really useful. You know, where it's like really of benefit. They sometimes will have like emergency broadcast.
Yeah.
There's a storm. You know, I lived in Ohio and Kentucky, and they every once in a while have like, you know, advisory like, you know, don't leave your house, and that was serious shit. Like there was flooding, and like you could get trapped, and you could be in a really compromising position. But I would say, like, other than seeing that, and other than getting information from other people, I just don't think that the news is anything to really even pay attention to. But at the same time, I would say this: I think maybe in the time that we're in, you know, maybe people should be a little more thankful for their health. You know, and when I say people, I'm pointing the finger at myself too. You know, maybe I should take a second and just say, hey, you know what? This is pretty fucking awesome. Like, a lot of people are really sick. There's a lot of shit that's gone down. I feel great. Most of the people around me feel great. Hopefully that continues, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm gonna make the most out of each day that I possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last time I watched anything that on the news that like was like, oh shit, like this is scary, or like this is important, I need to be watching this. I think you might have been in Woodland at this time, but when like the levee was supposed to be breaking, I don't know if you remember, but like literally like all of my at the time where I lived there in Woodland was like projected to be underwater.
Oh
yeah, like it was like, oh shit, like this is serious. I remember that like actually did scare me. I don't know. I think I might have been in high school, or I might have been out of high school. I don't remember. But I think that was the only time where like I actually paid attention to the news, because I'm like, hey, is this happening? Do we got to get a boat? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. You know, I think the most uninformed I have ever felt was when we spoke to Bo Hightower.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
God.
Yeah, you know so much history and stuff.
And he knows so much history. He knows so much of things that are going on. And I was just like, oh,
He knew about the law a lot too.
yeah.
He
like-
just knows everything.
Like just
Why are
intricate
you like
aspects.
a lawyer, bro? What's going on over there?
Yeah.
He likes cracking people's necks.
He's like, obviously those are certain things that he's super interested in. But you know, when you hear someone like that, it's like, yeah, I just felt very uninformed. But I also knew that a lot of the stuff he was talking about, cool, but I wasn't that interested in. So I can't beat myself up over that.
Mhm.
You know, if I think a lot of people pay attention to a lot of news just so that, you know, they can have conversations with other people about what may be going on, even though if it's not, you know, they don't really care that much. But it allows you to talk to someone. Did you hear about what happened at the Capitol? Oh my God, what do you know about it?
Mhm.
Oh, this is what I know. And then you can, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, with my dad, like if there's anything like political, like I have no idea. So like I just like I act I'm like, oh, like what? No way. Like, so how do you feel about it? Like
Mhm.
because I you know, I don't want to like I don't know, like, hey, let's talk about video games. Like he just has no idea. But you know, so that way I'm like still having a conversation with my dad. I just like kind of flip it and just interview him about his thoughts on the
Yeah.
situation. But if he says something crazy like whatever, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm not gonna. It's my own dad, so like I'm not even gonna really take that and run with it and, you know, go tell my wife like, oh my gosh, my dad said this, so we got to start, you know, whatever, like going to Costco and get all the
Toilet paper.
exactly, yeah, whatever it may be. Not that he said that, but like I'm also not gonna freak out if a relative, you know, tells me something that, you know, I should be worried about. I'm gonna, if it does spark interest, I'll probably look into it.
I think an area of concern is to look at why are you inputting some of this stuff? Like, why are you allowing yourself to take some of this stuff in the first place? Like, what's the point of it? You know, like where is it coming from? Like, why do you continue to do that? If you think of like times in your life where you've been sad, sometimes you do kind of reach out for like a sad song because you are like, I'm sad and I want to kind of like let this kind of sorrow sort of like release.
Yeah.
But it's all up to you on what you select. I mean, you can be like, I'm kind of sad. I'm gonna watch SpongeBob, and I'm gonna like flip it and get out. I'm gonna get out of this. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to some really upbeat music. I'm gonna listen to something that gets me excited, makes me want to move, makes me want to exercise,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can be set forth in a different direction. You know, and with the news, I think a lot of times the news is just background stuff, but I would be a little cautious with that background stuff. Maybe it's not useful to have it on in the background. Maybe you are kind of picking it up. Maybe it is seeping in, and maybe instead of having that on in the background, just you throw on some music. Or if you like sports, I mean, the sporting news is like this guy's getting traded, and there's a couple games left in the NFL season, and they might talk about coronavirus here and there, but like there's really not a lot of negative shit going on.
Yeah. I know you're not always supposed to do things that just make you feel good, right? Like sometimes, something's bad. Something will make you feel a little bad. You got to be able to handle it. But when it does come to the news, like that's one of the reasons why like I choose just to pay attention to the way I do. Like I don't search it out because like the times that I have like, gone on certain news websites or watched someone who's commentated on news, it's like there was just so much bad that I listened to it. I finished. I was like, yeah, a lot of that was so shitty. Like I didn't feel like super sad or anything, but I didn't feel as good as after I found out everything that happened. I didn't feel better after I watched it. I felt a little bit worse. Right? Is that of benefit to you? Like now knowing all the things that you do and feeling a little bit sad about the world and things that are going on, are you better of a person right now in this moment because of it? And if the answer is yes, okay. But I feel that a lot of the times the answer is no. The answer is you probably could have waited for somebody to just tell you about it, and you could have just instead done something that, was beneficial for you, beneficial for your family, and focused on that instead.
100%. You nailed it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can roll that over to like all the news that we get via social media as well.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like if you hop on Twitter, it's just, it's kind of like the same thing over and over, like the negative stuff. And at one point, like, especially when I was into sports, like I couldn't miss anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I mean, you hear one story, it's like, okay, that's all anybody's going to be talking about for like a couple hours. And then you can check in again. You can go be productive. And then you can check in like maybe at night and you'll see all of the updates. Like you won't miss a damn thing. But because of, the way those apps are developed and the way the news, rolls information out and stuff, like they want you to be stuck there all day. And it's like, you might have got some benefit because you heard about whatever first, and you can tell Nsima and you can be like, oh my gosh, like check this out, like what, and be the first to it, but who cares? Like it doesn't matter.
We're all going to find out about it at some
Exactly.
point, whether if it's tomorrow or if it's in a few hours.
It's probably not going to make you more money. It's probably not going to allow you to like love somebody more or help your relationships at all, or it's probably not going to make you feel great.
Yeah.
I mean, like it most likely isn't going to really do much other than give you some current event information. And I think, we on the last podcast, we talked about like developing a skill set and knowledge. And like, I'd rather see people moving towards that more, where they're seeking out, how to be a better writer, how to read faster, how to learn more efficiently, or whatever skill it is they want to learn, so they can continue to move forward. Not that that's the only thing you do. You do need forms of entertainment, but I would just say, like, don't use the news as a form of entertainment.
No.
And I mean, unless you're just willing to like laugh about it, and be like, hey, this is some silly shit that's going on. But really, you can't laugh about it a lot of times because a lot of it's too serious. A lot of it's, life and death situations. And right now, like with the president's, Twitter being shut down and stuff, I mean, you're going to get in like an uproar about that. Like for what? Like, I just don't like. It's just, you're better off not knowing much about it, not caring about it. And, that shit will be sorted out at some point, and there's nothing you can do.
On the laugh about it thing, man, some people are going to hate me for this, because once my homie told me about, bro, you saw what's happening at the Capitol? And then I Googled it. I laughed because I saw that picture of the dude at the face paint inside of the building going like this. And some people, it hit their heart like, oh my God, this is horrible. But I was just like, oh my God, this is so funny. Like, I'm sorry. But initially I was like, I saw a lady die, and then I was like, oh man, that's horrible. But God, am I wrong that this is just a little bit comical? Sorry guys. If that's just.
Some people are they were really, when I was hearing some of the newscasters and some of the other people are like, this is so embarrassing for the United States and stuff like that. I'm just like, I don't feel any of that. I don't know. I don't really, I mean, we're human and we have some turmoil at the moment. Yeah. And so people are going to flip some desks upside down and do some shit that's a little crazy. People are frustrated. Mm-hmm. People on the left are frustrated. People on the right are frustrated. A lot of races are frustrated. People are just frustrated. And COVID has probably assisted in making people more frustrated, since you can't do the normal shit that you normally can do. Yeah. And so like shit's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Things are going to happen. I didn't look at it as being like what the hell?
So it's fake, but
it's
the
Simpsons.
It's the Simpsons predicting everything. But I thought it was funny, just the drawing, and because what threw me off, I was like, dude, how did they even get the tattoos? And that's when I was like, oh wait, like I fell for it. But the Simpsons predictions are always really funny.
They really be on point with their predictions, man.
And that was just hilarious.
Honestly, I think that's one thing. I think when I look at a lot of this stuff, I think there is some benefit in trying to see some comedy in it. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, a lot of serious stuff happened. Some people died on that day or whatever. I get it. But when you're someone that looks at all this stuff and you're always looking at things, oh, this is so serious, it's so horrible. You can't help but you're just going to be kind of a downer. Yeah. Right? If you see some of it and you just like you take some stuff from it, you see how some of it's a little bit comical, not try to take it too seriously. That just, you understand what's going on, but it doesn't affect you as horribly. You know?
A lot of people that are allowing it to affect them are like, I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. It's like, it happened. Like it's happening. And
Yeah.
and things like this have happened throughout our history. Maybe not this particular event, this exact particular thing. Maybe that hasn't happened before. But I mean, there was a case years ago where a guy ran across the lawn of the White House and got right in the front door. And
Oh, snap.
and you know, a lot of humor was made of it because there was a woman that was the security.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan did a
Joe
whole
Rogan crushed it.
yeah, Joe Rogan did a whole bit on it and everything. But I mean, like, you know, this is probably just somebody who was just unstable and just wanted to like see how far they could go. And Joe Rogan talked about how as the person's running, they're like, I'm gonna get shot. I'm gonna get shot. I'm gonna get shot. And nothing happened the entire time. They got all the way through the door.
Yo, yeah, man. Comedians and like social media wins because when this Capitol thing happened, I saw a meme that came across my timeline, and it was a picture. It was a picture of Osama, and he was like, "I could have just done this the whole time."
Oh, that's true.
with the raiding of the Capitol. I was just like, "Oh God!"
You're right.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes comedy just
Oh, the
saves
internet's
day.
amazing.
Internet's
Saves the day.
undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what
The
you're
memes.
saying, Nsima, about like, you know, seeing the negativity and then, you know, kind of diving more into it. Like, yeah, I think people get stuck on searching for the sadness of it in everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then they kind of just it fuels them negatively. Like, but it still fuels them.
Still fuel. Yeah.
So it still gets them charged up. It's just unfortunate that it's not with something positive,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bummer.
I think a lot of people want to kind of have that mentality of like, see, I told you so type of thing. You
Yeah.
know, they want like vindication. So this thing that happened at the Capitol, look, we've been telling you guys Trump's trying to be a dictator. We've been telling you that he's fucking crazy. We impeached him once. We're going to impeach him again. And look, it's just right because look what happened, you know. And meanwhile, there's a lot of other people like the three of us who are like, I don't really care, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whoever's president, they're going to be the president, and I'll support that. And that's cool. And I'll try to do my best as I normally do, which is I don't really do much of anything. As a, you know, citizen, I'm not like participating in a lot of things on a local level. You know, I do my own thing the way that a lot of us do and go about my business my own way, try to be nice to people, try to be kind, and try to share love and things that I enjoy with other people. And that's pretty much like the extent of like how how far I go. And I think a lot of people feel that way, but you wouldn't know that from seeing the news. You would think that everyone's a fucking lunatic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'd imagine there's a ton of that in regards to every single time there's a new number on cases or deaths with the coronavirus. Like, see, I told you, you got to wear your mask. Whatever, if you're okay with masks or not, but like I would imagine there's some people out there that are just like waiting for the new numbers to come in just so that way they can say I told you so, or like this is as serious as I told you. You know,
Right.
You gotta start taking it serious.
Yeah, dude. Like, honestly, like, again, I know there's some people in my life where I'm just like, no, that's not true, though. Because they watch so much news, you know, the narrative of like that cops are literally hunting black men, right? There's some people in my life that are like, hey, be careful out there, man. Like, look what you be careful. Like, be careful what you do when you're driving at night, you know, because they're hunting us. I'm just like, yo, you like, people really believe that because of the narrative that's set out on some of these networks. Like, no, they're not hunting me. Like, I'm not being hunted, right? It's not that deep. Like, okay, I do need to be more careful. I understand that. I am always more careful in these situations. But I know if there is a cop that really dislikes me that much, I'm probably not going to run into him. He exists. I know he exists. I'm probably not going to run into him, though. I'm probably going to run into 100 really good ones or 1,000 really good ones before I come across this guy, even though he's out there scanning the streets for my 250-pound black ass. Like real talk, man.
Sitting outside your dojo, waiting for you.
Oh, God. Yeah, man. So it's just like, that's why it's just like, you know, if I paid so much attention to that, like other people do, I'd be so scared, man. I'd be super scared, but I know it's not true.
And also, like, I just don't think being like scared is all that helpful.
Yeah.
Being cautious and paying attention to a little bit of what's going on. I think there's always some room for that. That makes some sense when it comes to COVID or it comes to any of the things that have been happening. but you just use your own judgment. Use your own judgment based off your own history, based off your own things that you've experienced. Aside from that, though, there's probably not a lot of reasons to get yourself all worked up or overly worried about it. You try to think about it in the most rational way that you can. Okay, the news says this, the news says that, and if I believe some of these things to be true, here are the actions I'm going to take. Oh, it turns out there really isn't all that much action I can take towards that. So why worry about things that I don't have any control over?
Mm-hmm.
It appears that I can't be proactive in this situation. It appears that I can't participate or do anything in this situation. So I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not going to be too worried about it.
Yeah.
That's a sick hat.
Thank you.
I just noticed it right now.
April just gave it to me.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sick.
Hot off the presses.
Damn.
Nice.
Yeah.
When is all of that? A few months?
February. I
Oh,
think.
snap.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be March. Okay.
Yeah. Might be the end of this month. Might be.
Wow.
Yeah. Might be February. Dropping the Steak Shake will be the first supplement that we drop. And it's from a new brand called Within You. And I'm excited for it. Yeah. Steak Shake's going to be great. Take the world by storm.
Very. And the fact that you got that name once again is amazing. The Steak Shake. That's dope.
Yep.
That is dope.
I can't wait to make commercials for it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can use some of these scare tactics to get people to watch.
Yeah. If you don't eat meat, this is going to happen to you.
You have to blend a steak one day.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
With water, bone broth, like what do you think you're going to mix the shake with?
Oh, the actual protein shake itself?
No. Like,
the
actual, like for the skit.
Oh, the actual steak shake? I don't know. Probably all kinds of disgusting stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, probably get some liver and, some kidneys and some.
That's a good visual.
Some heart and just dump it all in there.
No, honestly, if you can and you easily can get your hand on some brain, it's very easy to see that it's brain. So doing that would. Yeah, no, if you ever like goat brain, you see it looks like brain. It's like it's brain.
The matter.
Do you eat the brain?
Yeah. You just boil it in a soup.
Wow.
It's that simple.
Fake news? Real news?
No, real news.
I had no idea. I thought you got like sick if you ate animal brains.
Well, I haven't.
Or maybe that was like on Indiana Jones or something then.
No, there is something,
right?
There's like a
like
brain that you're not
trichinosis
supposed to.
Mad
Yeah,
cow.
trichinosis. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
There's a certain brain like
pig brain.
Yeah, I don't know if it's pig brain or elk. I think not elk, but there's an animal like you should not mess with that its brain because
octopus
it can fuck you up.
Because they're
too
smart.
Yeah.
I just stayed away from all of it. So, okay.
That's cool.
Take us on out of here, Andrew.
I will. Thank you, everybody, for coming back on the live stream. So if you're watching or listening to this on iTunes, little secret, we recorded this episode and the previous episode on the same day. I know. When is now?
Now.
Soon.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't get it. Okay.
That's all right.
Spaceballs.
Old movie.
I got to watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you to Element for sponsoring today's episode. Again, if you guys have not taken advantage, please do so before the end of the month. Forgot to say that on the last episode. You have till the end of January to take advantage of the free recharge pack. So all you have to do is just pay for the $5 shipping, and you'll get I think it's 8 flavors. I might be wrong. It might be 4, but it might be 8. I think it's 8. Recharge sample pack from Element Electrolytes. You guys know how much we love them. So again, hit the link in the description wherever you're listening or watching this, and you'll get a free sample pack. Please make sure to follow the podcast at Mark Bowles Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on Twitter. Also the newsletter, second issue is about to drop in a couple days, so make sure you guys sign up for that so you don't miss it. And apologies to anybody that received like weird double emails. I'm still learning this stuff, so bear with me. My Instagram and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where can you be?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on Mark.
At Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.